So I'm Manoj Ramani, Senior Applied AI Specialist with AWS, Amazon. When Amazon and Fexa go back over a decade. Can we get the next slide, please?
Oh, yeah, here's the clicker.
Oh. So Fexa and AI, Fexa and Amazon, we go back over a decade. If you see the entire ecosystem that Fexa has built on, it's a massive system. The entire ecosystem is built on AWS. Just to give you a sense of the scale of operations, what goes through this system is we're supporting 750,000 service providers, 1.8 million locations, all of this adding up to a whooping $5.6 billion worth of facilities management. This is a massive, massive system. Now today, Kurt talked about how do we get AI on a system. You don't just slap AI on any system and hope everything just works out. You've got to have an extremely strong data and an AI foundation. This is something that we at AWS take this very seriously. Now let's talk about AI, more specifically Gen AI in facilities management. Now when our combined teams, we went through this exercise called EBA, a lot of ideas came around. Gen AI can do this, Gen AI can do that. When you just start to go across the field, one of the biggest activities is to weed out non-starters, right? We're working with a customer who understands the domain, we understand the tech. We wanted to make sure that we are working on something that adds real incremental value. That brainstorming exercise brought one thing front and center, is the issue with poorly written work orders. Just with a show of hands, how many of you have come across a very poorly written work order, not categorized, not classified?
Every hand in the room.
Every hand in the room.
You can't hide.
So it was not a hard decision for us to pick the right problem to solve, because you see a poorly written work order has so many downstream impacts. You send the wrong technician for the job, the technician arrives with insufficient equipment. All in all, you got a lot of churn with less value, making all your business metrics look red, right? So how do we solve this? Now, the good thing about generative AI, let's talk about a user journey. Today, if someone from the store wants to create a work order, open up a form, a lot of fields, anyone in the store team really wants to do what they need to focus on, work with their customers. But all they have is a massive form that they have to fill up. So what if this customer is going to open up an app and is going to have a conversation? Instead of just saying and filling up a work order saying it's broken, it starts a conversation with an AI and says, this is not working. That AI is trained with the manuals and all the data corpus for equipments of that store. The equipments is going to be your HVAC, electrical, plumbing. If you're a retailer, your deli slicer. It understands all those equipments and knows specific troubleshooting steps. So I engage with AI, talk to it like a regular multi-turn conversation. And at the end of it, one of two things can happen. Either the troubleshooting steps provided by the bot give you all you need, you perform those steps, problem gone. Great. On the one hand, I have that conversation. AI is going to pull the information from that, create a work order, because it has all the information for the work order, and say, resolved, self-resolved. Great. You have a work order in the system, marked as self-resolved. If the issue is not resolved, same thing happens. The AI has all the conversation to fill up the details of the work order, knows what category it is, knows what has been tried, appends all the solution and the necessary summary to the work order, and it tells the user, look at it, you like what you see? Submit. That's it. The friction of creating a well-written work order just goes away because the customer is not doing it. That's cool, isn't it? Now, why is all that possible with Gen AI? Because what this technology is unlocked now is to do something called as multi-turn conversations. So if both of us, we have a nice conversation, step 1, step 2, step 3, after 10 minutes, I'm not going to forget what we were talking about. If you ask me, what are we talking about? I can summarize, yeah, we discuss X, then we discuss Y, this is what we have right now. That's the thing about multi-turn conversation. Gen AI is very good at that, right? Another thing about generative AI, natural language processing, looking at a large chat conversation, pulling out the information it needs to. This is an electrical problem. The issue is with the furnace. This is the quantity, this is the priority. It's able to do that because it's able to extract that from the chat. That's another area. Wasn't possible earlier. With Gen AI it is. And last but not the least, once you have these problem and solution pairs in the system, this is what in AWS we call about the virtuous cycle. You have the problems, you have the solutions, AI can look into that and create a data corpus for you so that when you go ahead, it's actually providing you the right troubleshooting question and answer. So it kind of makes your data corpus better. So a combination of these three helps you get to solve the problem a lot faster. Now, enough talk. What we're going to do is we're going to show you a demo. You see that in action. And for that, I'll hand it over to Michelle.
We'll do the demo in just a moment. So brace yourself. We'll get there. But all the amazing things that Manoj also revealed, we know that there's a lot of hype around AI. Let me know. Am I projecting? Okay. Okay. All right. I was standing close in case I needed to go here. But it's not really if AI can do things, but what should it be doing? What's going to have meaningful impact for all of your locations, for your businesses? And when we're building technology for you, our focus is simple. We want to build you tools that's going to automate processes and allow you to be more strategic, and you can work on more proactive measures. And that is really what we're aiming to do, is we're analyzing all the use cases that AI can take over time. So that means when our teams are building, we need to start focusing on value over buzzwords. We need to look at use cases and think about the quality over the quantity. I know there's a lot of hype around AI, so we could get really excited and want to sprinkle AI everywhere, but we want to go really deep and be really focused on where that value is going to be able to stand the test of time. That also looks like looking at use cases and building agents that truly understand your business and your workflows. So that's a big change. And at Fexa, we've led historically by leaning in and adapting to your processes and not forcing you into rigid playbooks. And that's something we'll continue to do going forward. We're also partnering with you as your business and the economy changes, so that we can partner with you as a thought partner and also act like your GPS, and we'll recalculate with you as conditions change. And that's why we partnered with AWS to deliver some really impactful AI use cases that are going to change the course of business. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit in a moment what we're going to be doing with that today. But to tee us up, what do dominoes do? A domino, the first domino that falls will set off a chain reaction. Typically, work orders can do the same thing. That's the very beginning. That's the first domino in the process, that if it's done improperly, it can set off a cascade of issues downstream. We can have wasted time. There's delays of the work getting done. There's frustration. And when we were exploring this use case, we didn't just pick one out of a bag. We had a lot of conversation and did extensive research with many of you in the room and your peers. And we learned that some facilities teams are spending hundreds of hours a year chasing details on work orders. Hundreds of hours a year. That's many days a week, or hours a week, many days a month. That is months a year we are now translating into wasted time. There is also the cost of dispatching the wrong vendor because the trade was mismapped, or dispatching the wrong priority. Maybe you had to pay the cost on emergency services for a ticket and it didn't need to be, but there's so many work orders and our teams are operating so lean we didn't catch it. And so all of these insights and this research helped us lean into this exact use case to deliver an AI innovation that really does matter. So with that, we have Fexa AI. This is built in Fexa. It's not bolted on. You've probably heard that a few times. And it's a zero training natural language experience to enter work orders, transitioning, kind of changing the game for work order creation. No longer do store teams need to manage forms, remember required fields, and filter through that data and try to figure those out correctly. They can simply just say what's wrong and enter that in here. But without further ado, do you want to see this live in action? No. All right, let's enter a work order. I might have to use this. Okay. I got to have both hands on keyboard for this. I'm going to try to escape out of here. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to do a live, I'm doing a live demo. So you're not, if you know me, I will live on the edge here. So again, Fexa AI is going to transform the work order experience for your store teams. Instead of going to the standard work order creation, I'm going to go ahead. You can see I'm on my work order grid. Actually, I'm going to refresh my browser. I probably got logged out. Let me do that before I kill our demo, but this is a live demo. Dun, dun, dun. I'm logging in actually as one of your store teams. So you will see exactly what they're going to see. Okay, log back in. We're good to go. Refresh my session. I'm going to go ahead and go to my work order grid. This is the same work order grid that you know and love and enter work orders in and day out. But we've transformed that experience. So the next time they open up a work order, they see the same screen that I just showed you. And so they could do a couple of things here. They'll be able to enter in the problem that they're experiencing in the store. They can also toggle back for any reason. If they need to go to the standard form, they can still get to it. They can also review their history for open previous work orders that they've entered in the past. Most importantly, they can just type in a message and say what the issue is. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in a work order here. We're going to say, I have a light out in the front display. It'll also take in all of my typos. If you have typos, it'll still read it and do just fine. So as I enter in the information into the chat, it's going to start intelligently thinking and parsing the information that I've fed it. So it's taking my information and it's saying, okay, what do I know about the user? What do I know about the description of the problem? And it is intelligently parsing and filling out my work order for me. So I don't have to fill out forms, though I can see that for transparency and visibility. You can see that it's started to map all of the information. This service, this agent, is going to go through two different phases. The first phase is completing your work order. That is mission critical. That's job number one. The second mission it has is to do any troubleshooting, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. So I have to pause in my demo so I can nudge this along, but you can see it's filling out information and it's starting to ask me some simple questions. And this is just to make sure that it has the right information to put in detailed and enriched information in the description. So it's asking me if there's multiple lights that are out, if I know what type of light it is. I may or may not have that information. I can say, I don't know. I can also answer more descriptively. It'll work with whatever you put in it. So I'm going to say it is all the lights. We're going to say it's 5. And so it's going to think, it's again parsing that information. It's saying, do I still have the right category assigned? Am I going to amend or append any details in the description? It's going to set that information automatically, and it will type better sentences than I will in this chat. It's now asking me if I would confirm that the details are correct. So I, as a human, can now say, yes, this looks good, and I can proceed. So I'm just going to put yes. It'll accept yeah or yup. All those things work. And so anything that you put in there, we've done a lot of testing. We've also tried to ask it bizarre questions like, will you order me a pizza? And make sure that we have trained it and have the right guardrails so they cannot ask those bizarre things in the service. So now it's going to transition into a troubleshooting phase. This is really critical, and it's also based on your trades and your problems and your configuration. You can choose to troubleshoot any areas you would like, and that is going to see if we can, one, enrich the work order and provide a lot more information for your technicians and your facilities leaders. And then secondly, if we can avoid the work order with some simple visual checks and some common sense, we will then mark it as avoided and store the work order so you can see the cost savings that this service has. So that's what we're doing now. You can also skip it. So if there's certain trades you say, I don't want to do that, just make the work order, we cannot troubleshoot that area, which means at this point in time, my work order would be done. I would be done, and you can see here I've said 3 comments, I think. I've said my lights were out, that there was 5 of them, and I said, yes, this looks good. And then I can walk away and go serve my customers. But it's going to take me through a couple questions. Bear with me as I go through this demo. So it's asking me if there's any lights or outlets, if they're working normally, or if it's isolated. So I'm going to say it's isolated, and everything else is fine. So we'll enter that in. It may ask me a couple more questions, and these are things we can refine to say, how many, do you want more questions? Do you want less questions? Are the type of questions accurate? These are all things you can also partner with us and bring your own knowledge base, bring your own documents and manuals into the service. Again, we're flexible, and now we're intelligent in that process. And so it's saying, when did this first happen? I'm just going to put today. Again, I'm putting brief answers on purpose. I know your store teams also don't have a lot of time. Their responses may look the same as mine. And then it says, you know, if there's anything burning, maybe it's seeing if there's a bigger issue and we may need to call other services. I'm going to say, is there any unusual smells or anything else wrong? I'm going to say no. Once it gets to the end of my troubleshooting phase, it will confirm that it's correct, and it's going to give me my work order number here. I'm going to say I still need a work order. And I'll also be able to rate the service. So you'll see here in a second, it's going to give me my final details. All right, so there we have it. I have a link to my work order. I even get to rate the experience. I think this is great. And I'm going to open up that work order. All right, so what's cool here, we've mapped all of that information. So you may have thought you saw just a chatbot, and it's a chat interface, a natural language interface, but I want to argue it is not a chatbot. There's so much more happening behind and under the hood of this system. We filled out this entire form for them. We also went through, if you're using our call avoidance features, we went through a call avoidance flow. We also marked and summarized all of the troubleshooting information. Here we go. So you can see I have an enriched description. I also have a summary of all of the questions and answers that we went through. And now I have a full log of the chat. So if you want more information for transparency and AI ethics, you have that embedded into all the work orders that are automatically generated here. So you can read through all of those responses, and there you go. You have a more accurate work order created properly the first time. But we're not done. So I'm going to jump back.
Wait, there's more.
Got to jump back in here. All right. So couple of other things. Data also really matters. And so as we're going through and we are moving forward with this use case and work order creation, we're collecting a lot of data. We care about the data, you care a lot about the data, and we want to know where it's making the difference. So we'll be measuring those results. We'll also be surfacing insights and showing the value as we progress. We're aiming to reduce your downtime, to reduce the callbacks, and to increase your efficiencies. Again, starting at the beginning of the workflow journey of creating a better, more enriched work order ticket that is simple and intuitive, you are going to be able to have a lot of downstream benefits for your teams as well. So there's a lot going on. We'll have a lot more data and insights that we'll be collecting as part of this. But we're not just going to stop there. We are embedding Fexa AI that will support and surround all of the things that we do going forward. We have 4 main pillars and categories that we prioritize. You'll see on the left side of this chart here, where we are prioritizing these as we are innovating on any new product and development efforts to remove your manual busy work and be able to provide agents that can automate your processes going forward. This will be coming into fruit with a couple of different areas that you'll see in the next slide. To be able to cut unnecessary costs, surfacing benchmarks and details so that you can make better, more informed decisions with respect to vendor management and other areas. We also aim to keep you protected. So this will be from any regulations, keeping you audit ready as you're moving forward. And then just helping you make better decisions. As we've talked about the future of asset management as we go forward, being able to set up different measurements and insights so you can have a complete view of your asset life cycle. A lot more to come, but Fexa AI will be embedded throughout all of those workflows, all of those tasks, and all of those outcomes. As we move forward, there are a few key areas that we will be focusing on for our next use cases. Those are as follows. Setting up a facilities management agent so that you can do things like being able to set up alerts for areas that matter, for tasks and workflow processes, pushing data to you so you don't have to pull that yourself. So let's say you care about certain invoices or stale work orders. Maybe they're not stale, but you want to know the last time something has been sitting there and a note was added to a work order. Being able to set custom SLAs so you can get insights that matter and make decisions when it matters most. The next would be data and insights. Being able to surface data from your environment and surface where you could be doing better, recommending insights and how you can move forward and advance your future. And then last but not least, like I mentioned, enhancing our asset management and intelligent planning so that you can have a better view from reactive all the way to preventative maintenance. There's so many things that we have on our roadmap, but these are the 3 key areas that we're aiming at to deliver value for you and your organization. Now, the best part from what I showed you today and what was in the demo that we just went through together was it's not hype, this is impact. And what I showed you wasn't theory or roadmap. The demonstration from today is actually in production. So if you are interested, I encourage you, please talk to one of us here at Fexa and learn how Fexa AI can impact your organization. Thank you.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So on these AI agents, okay? I mean, if I'm a new customer, right? So you have not on my data. Is this AI agent pulling from all your client database to do the data extrapolation, or only the client-specific database?
From what I demoed?
The troubleshooting part.
The troubleshooting.
The troubleshooting. That's a good question. we could answer this together, but we're not training this service isn't trained on your data or anyone else's data. It is conditioned by your configurations that we set up in Fexa, and it's conditioned by general knowledge-based documents that we feed it for basic troubleshooting that we create, you can amend or append, and that you could also bring your own information. And that is what provides the troubleshooting that you saw in the demo today. It's not actually trained on work order data. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so these are, unlike traditional machine learning models where you need to train them, these are generative AI models. They are trained and it takes millions of dollars to train them. So these models are trained. What it's working on is your enterprise data. So you curate it based on everything what Michelle mentions. What's happening technically is when a question is asked, the Gen AI model is served the right parts of your information. That's the technical smarts. And the Gen AI gets that and it asks you a question which makes sense in a very conversation fashion.
But my point is that if I'm a new customer, and my data curation is short,
it's short,
the
yeah.
quality of the troubleshooting may be different than if I'm a client that has been with Fexa for 10 years with
Yep.
long data curation, and therefore the troubleshooting may be even better.
Yeah, but the good news is you're not starting from scratch. So we'll give you a starting set. There are only these different ways you can, troubleshoot an HVAC. So you might look at this and say, yeah, it looks good. Oh, we do this differently. And then you might augment those. And we serve that as your data to the model. And it's separated from every other customer.
Any other
So
questions?
you better
Oh,
get
go ahead.
started sooner than later, Pedro.
The CMO here, it's not you.
I think there was a question here. Yeah.
Will it get smarter with each
Yes.
work order? And will you have to update your knowledge base periodically?
I would say you can update your knowledge base if you feel like you need to, but the service will learn from itself. So as it's making the correct or incorrect responses, and we're going off of the rating as well, it will learn and improve over time based on the data that is put in.
Yeah. And we did touch on, the virtuous cycle that I was talking about. So over a period of time, it has the problems that happen. You tried different steps, but this one worked. You can have AI behind the scenes, and it gets better and better for your facilities. And it's completely transparent. You can actually see that. If you don't want to propagate the change because the way you handle that was very unique to that facility, it doesn't just say don't move that information. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is all great. I love where you guys are going, but it feels like it's within the ecosystem of work order management and repair and maintenance here. What are you guys doing in terms of other data, in terms of partnerships? If I think about, usually 2 of the top 5 categories we all manage are HVAC and refrigeration. So think about, you've mentioned uptime a few times today. Is your uptime measured based on, hey, I haven't had a work order in 6 or 12 months, or you've got a partnership with another vendor that customer has in terms of temperature reads from the HVAC system, from the refrigerated cases, and you're integrating that into here in order to even make it more efficient? How are you addressing that?
That's a good question. I'd say that that's the future of where we're going. Those are the next use cases that we're building and enriching the metadata within Fexa so that we can surface those insights. So we can send you alerts so that you can have that information populate when you're opening a work order. If we have the asset tagged, we can suck that information in and send you a notification, or even be able to leverage that data and insights for kicking off preventative maintenance plans.
David, I would add on that. The Fexa platform, like before you get to the AI piece, pretty robust interoperability with different adjacent software applications, service providers even. So that's sort of like baked into the cake of how we approach facilities management. You're spot on, right? Narrow, strict guardrails on we want to be great at facility management, work order management. When we start thinking about asset management and HVAC, right? You can't do that in a silo, right? There's key data points. Part of it is the repair and maintenance history. We are the source of truth for that data. But you then need to augment that with what's happening in the field. So this is why it's interesting to be talking about pulling data from X to Y and what is the service provider, the technician seeing and experiencing in the field, and then what are they actually doing, replacing the coil, etc. The third interesting piece is the building management system or the energy management system, right? The sensors and the signal, the alerts that are getting kicked off from the BMS or the controller. Ultimately, you then have to compile, normalize that data in a single place. We believe Fexa is the right place for you to do that, and then apply AI on top of it. But what we do not want to do, and what is not on our roadmap, is going out to become an EMS or BMS system to try to suck in the data, or to even build tools for the technician to capture the data more effectively. We feel like if we find the people who are best at doing those things, we can partner with them more effectively. What we want to do is be the place where the data is highly reliable, high fidelity, and be the best in the world at figuring out how AI can make sense of that to answer the questions that you want answered. It's a big, but I mean, I'm not going to fool you. It's a big challenge. It's hard, but we're building towards it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's what the customer cares about, my store operators, is, hey, don't define uptime in a way that doesn't matter to me. I just want to know that that case is whole and the product is safe so I can sell it to the customer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good. Any other questions?
I have one. I love the synthesis around doing the work order. Is that also going to be on a mobile platform, or is it only on a desktop? And can it be interfaced with like Siri, so you can just talk to it while you're in the field?
Good. Those are good questions. I'd say today it works on like your desktop, or if you have a tablet that is kind of like similar size shape. But as we're rapidly iterating, that will be something that will need to work on your mobile device, and also through like multimodal experiences. So you could use like voice. Also activate the requirement of like, hey, upload an image in here, and we can do lots of cool things. So all on the scope of what's possible. Yep.
Also, I'm sorry if I missed it on the slide. What was the timeline of the rollout?
The timeline, so we do have this in production environments today. And so we are working through releasing that in a more broad spectrum, and you'll hear more about that, but come talk to us. We'd love to chat.